the construction of motherhood in the United States has always been conservative. The way we've sold and marketed and policed motherhood, it's always prioritized a white upper class woman who doesn't work, who can completely devote herself to husband, children, and domesticity. So I think that's the model that so many of us have been fed for so long, that even if we see a mother who might be the most progressive mother in the world, if she's presenting as super nurturing, super soft, super feminine, super domestic, she might read as conservative.
This is the Culture Study Podcast, and I'm Anne Helen Peterson.
I'm Sarah Peterson, no relation, but it is spelled the same way.
Oh, we're both Norwegian. Well, actually, aren't you not Norwegian?
Mostly Danish and German.
Right, that's right, because the EN is Danish. Mine is because they gave us the name when we came over. So
Oh,
anyway.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. But we do kind of look alike, and we have the same hair.
No. I write the In Pursuit of Clean Countertops newsletter over at Patreon, and I also co-host the Clean Countertops podcast with Emily J. Smith, and I wrote the book Momfluenced.
You are my Ballerina Farm go-to person. I think a lot of people who listen to this podcast know that you are the place to go when your Ballerina Farm news breaks. And to be clear, Ballerina Farm is a momfluencer account. What's the quick spiel? What is the first, how do you explain it? You're like...
It's so funny.
There's so many adjectives that we have to use. So
I know.
Please, yeah, go ahead.
And she's so lodged in my consciousness as just a part of the atmosphere at this point.
Yeah.
But okay, so she is a mother of 9 who lives in Utah with her jet blue air husband, Daniel. They have a ranch. They now have a farm store. They're Mormon, and she has over 10 million followers across platforms. It might even be over 15 million at this point.
Wow.
And she's sort of known as the reigning queen of trad wives.
Yeah. Even though she would never call herself a trad wife.
No.
And the momfluencer, I think, in this moment. But there is big Ballerina Farm news.
It's true.
That just broke. By the time this comes out, it will be in the last month or so. So How would you describe this news?
Oh my gosh. So she announced her 9th pregnancy via an advertisement / short film, I think is what they called it.
Yeah.
But it's an ad for their new protein powder. The timing was really interesting because they released it right after they were embroiled in a raw milk controversy.
Yes.
Where they had to cease operations of their raw milk because there were contaminations found by health inspectors.
And just so we're clear, because they've had to underline this 1,700 times in so many different releases and direct videos, no contaminated milk was sold.
Correct. No customers were harmed as a result of the raw milk. But I would also ask, we don't know if anybody got sick from raw milk before, obviously.
Right.
But yes. She announced the 9th pregnancy. And I have to say, this might sound naive, but I was slightly surprised she was going for one more, only because they've really geared up the business side of operations. They're full steam ahead with product releases. And I thought she was sort of going to hang. She was really going hard in terms of businesswoman as identity.
Yeah.
I mean, embroiled in the trad wife as identity, obviously. So I was a little surprised.
Sarah, this is where our thinking, our brains don't work with this. And I'm not saying this in a condescending way, really. It's more that I think what she would say, and what I've seen a lot of other trad wives say, and yes, I know that having babies is for content, but I think what she would say is I left it up to God, whether or not I was going to get pregnant.
100%.
Yeah.
I know that's the talking point. They've been saying that since like day one when they had like 6 kids. They did a AMA where it's her and Daniel on the couch and how many kids are we having? And they just look at each other and smile and say, we'll just have to see.
Yep.
But I kind of thought behind the scenes they were like, okay, let's not keep going. But you're right. You're right. Of course she had another baby. Of course she had another baby.
So when you say 9, that's including the new baby. So there's 9
Yes.
total. Got
Yes.
it. Got it.
Um,
I would be if I had 9 kids, I would be so like, this is just how my brain works. No. I would want to go for 10 just to like have 10.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, her sister has 11. So you know. No,
Okay.
yeah, I think you're right. I'm going to like officially say I think there will be a 10th.
It's just such
right
a
now.
round number. But also, we should note that there was a pregnancy announcement, and then how many days later, the baby was there. The baby had been born.
So there's so many things that were off about how this went down.
Yeah.
Because like everyone that follows momfluencer culture knows that pregnancies are good for business.
Yeah.
So she lost out on months of pregnancy and bump content.
Yeah.
And I have to think she had a conversation with herself about privacy.
Yeah.
Because I truly don't know why else they would have saved it until the very last minute.
And she also has let's put this in heavily quotation marks. She has cute pregnancies.
Oh, yeah.
So she's not trying to shield herself from the public eye in these moments. And when I
No.
say a cute pregnancy, I mean that she has like the idealized, like it looks like she swallowed a basketball and then it looks like she no longer swallowed a basketball. She doesn't
Totally.
have like any other effects on her body seemingly,
No.
or at least has not appeared on camera with those. So that doesn't seem like the concern. I wonder if she was just like bored of bump content. If I were her, I'd be like, we've done this. I don't want to do the sequel.
Yeah, but she could have been drinking the electrolyte powder
Oh,
because
yeah.
I'm growing a baby and I need more
The
hydration.
electrolyte powder is also sold by Ballerina Farms Inc. Just to be clear. Yeah.
Yes. I just feel like, I don't know. Yes, she's probably bored of that content, but also her content has been sort of the same for years. So I don't know.
Yeah. It is, I think, a very Publicity 101 transfer of attention away from raw milk as the conversation that people were having about Ballerina Farms to we're now talking about a baby that is coming, a baby that is here. And like how she hid it too, which then becomes like a secondary sort of level of discourse. How do you think Ballerina Farm fits into the broader landscape of momfluencers in 2026?
I mean, she's sort of in a class unto herself. I mean, there are, of course, plenty of other trad momfluencers, but none of them with the name brand recognition that she has. So, yes, she sort of represents the part of the mamasphere that is trad oriented.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the hustle and grind momfluencers that I'm newly fascinated with Brooke Raybould. She has been around for a while, and her whole thing is like dominating motherhood at all costs. And it's always been exhausting and baffling, but she's becoming like a little more manic. She was accused of plagiarizing an entire Disney guide.
This one.
Yes.
Got it. I just looked her up on Instagram. Yeah. Mom to 5 boys, how to become a ski family. Wow.
There's one about how to buy a mom car. We're talking about the reels, to be clear.
Yeah. 1.2 million followers, right?
Yeah.
Empowering moms with structure and strategy.
Ooh, there's a lot of whiteboards.
Yeah.
A lot of whiteboards. Oh, wait, I just closed the tab. She was reading a book today that she shared on her stories. It's called like something about how we're too comfortable. It's like the age of discomfort. It's like a very Tony Robbins-esque, like get up at 5 a.m. type of thing.
Yeah.
But so I would say they're the productivity momfluencers, I guess.
Yeah.
There are like fashion-y momfluencers. There's like fitness-related momfluencers. I don't know. What are you noticing in terms of trends
You
of
know,
types?
I often follow people because you tell me to. Like just right now, I was like follow. um, but then my longest momfluencer relationships are all with like the very trad wifey ones.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
you're the
yeah,
farmer. Yeah. Talk about
just
her.
like I like there's this one that I am so fascinated with and I talk to you about all the time. MT Promised Land. And she just had her, I believe, 12th kid. Um, and she just has this affect that is very kind. And I
Yeah.
think like she's just kind of like rolling with it. Like she's the mom of 12 that could have been from like 1920, 1950,
Yeah.
1970. Like there is a timeless quality about her. She also
Mhm.
like she's kind of guileless
Yeah.
in a way that I think a lot of them aren't. There is
Yep.
no like productivity hustle. She's
Right.
obviously very religious. She's married to a pastor, but also like totally not weirded out by the fact that like her eldest son's wife is also pregnant at the same time.
Right.
like
Right.
like that's just like, huh, that's kind of cool. Like I love
Yes.
it.
No, I do. She is rare in that she doesn't seem to have belabored over her branding.
hmm
Like she does, like a lot of these momfluencers, they'll have a little tag in their bio that's like just a mom,
Yeah.
but she actually embodies that to me in
Yeah.
a unique way.
The other thing that I'd note, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this, and we'll talk more about it as we go through, but I just see fewer and fewer of the actual moms in my life posting anything.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I have like older kids now, I guess. So I'm sort of removed from my peers sharing baby content.
Yeah.
Um, but for sure, I think it's a totally different set of mores. I think people are sharing more in group chats
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
family and friends accounts. And I get why. I mean, I just read Fortessa Latifi's book. Have you read it yet?
I'm interviewing her for a culture study like in the
Okay,
next
good.
couple of weeks. So
Good.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's harrowing is the word that comes to mind. It's a
Yeah.
book about the lives of children of influencers. A lot of them are from vlogger families,
Yeah.
and it's harrowing. I mean, there's the pedophilia, component of things.
Yeah.
There's the children growing up from babyhood to be like trained to look at cameras and
Yeah.
associate their selfhood with performance.
hmm
And there's the financial implications. Like she interviews a lot of these parents, most of whom are mothers, and they acknowledge all the risks and the possible, the potential for harm for their children. But if they compare what they'd earn in a regular 9 to 5,
Yeah.
they always come to the side of like, well, this is working for us now.
Yeah.
And if we
Yeah.
ever have to change it, we will.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all this to say is I understand why people don't want to share their little newborn babies all over Instagram as much anymore.
This reminds me of another momfluencer who has like completely not turned herself into a momfluencer, and that is Brooklyn of Brooklyn and Bailey,
Oh,
who were, I
right.
call them the Baylor twins because that's when I first really came to understand who they were. They got a brand deal at Baylor when they decided to go to Baylor. Like they partnered with Baylor, but
Yep.
they were very, very famous before they went to college as their mom ran the account Cute Hairstyles for Girls.
Yeah.
And
Which just take a moment with that.
and the whole family also are kind of like quasi sub influencers. They're also Mormon, but have like different relationships to Mormonism. They wear tank tops, for example. They're not wearing.
Right.
Um, so they're pretty young. They got both the twins got married pretty immediately after college. One of them married one of the guys that she went on a date with through like the like get me 5 boyfriends video stunt
Oh,
essentially.
wow.
That's Brooklyn, and they had a baby. And Brooklyn does not show her baby's face in any capacity. Like,
Yeah.
always a star over her face. Like,
Yep.
I think has really come to understand a very different like what she wants for her daughter or for a kid. I don't even know if it's a boy or girl, honestly.
Yeah.
Is very
Yep.
different.
Than what she grew
And
up
to
with.
see that modeled is really interesting.
It is,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay, we're talking about the landscape of momfluencing right now. We're going to talk about big questions and get to some more specific ones, but let's start off with this question from Sydney.
When did becoming a new mom immediately sign you up for becoming a mommy influencer? I have watched many of my friends rush to share all their experiences online when they're a brand new mom, and they have a sample size of one. I can remember being pregnant and having to stay off the internet for periods of time because the information was so overwhelming. Every mom has an opinion on developmental milestones, breastfeeding, sleeping, baby-led weaning, you name it. And frankly, a lot of it is conflicting information and ultimately a ploy to get you to buy something that they'll get commission off of. Is being a mom influencer just the new MLM scheme? Where do we draw the line at sharing our experiences online, but not sharing information that can potentially not be helpful, even hurtful, to a vulnerable, tired, emotional, all the things population?
So this Sydney is contradicting what I said about how I'm not seeing my friends share things.
Right.
But I do think that most of my friends also have kids who are now past like the kindergarten age.
Right.
So that is a real difference. So what does this bring you?
Well, I hear two things in that question. One thing that she brings up that I think is a real trend is when you become a mother for the first time yourself, you go through this experience of forming your own set of, rules and guidelines for how to get through every day.
Yeah.
And, when you're the parent of a baby, the baby is changing so quickly, the developmental milestones, et cetera. So you're constantly having to evolve and become an expert in something new.
Totally.
And so I think if it's a normie mom, somebody who's not earning money from her content, there's a little piece of it that feels like they're talking to themselves. Like they want to assure themselves that, okay, I figured this out. This is the best way to cut out the afternoon nap.
Yeah.
And I think, it's so bewildering, especially when you're a first-time mother, that there's maybe another piece that's looking for external validation.
Yeah.
Or somebody to say like, oh, thank you for sharing that. I've been trying to figure out how to cut the afternoon nap, which imbues your, skill set with some respect, I think.
Yeah. That's such a good point.
And then in terms of the financially motivated momfluencers, I think it's similar in that to market themselves as experts, they need to present themselves as experts.
Right.
So they need to have, there needs to be one way to do everything.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're not the holder of secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, anybody with kids knows there's a million jillion ways to do every little thing and context and individuality, all of it. There is no one way to do everything, but I do think that's the key to selling motherhood.
And I think that it's less effective to make a reel that's like, two things I'm kind of trying out and haven't decided if they work yet, instead of stop doing these three things now. Like that sort of declarative content is much more successful.
For sure.
I also think like there is an interesting tension between people who may have like a text group of moms that they get some of this information from, but that's also like super intimate. And if you don't do the thing that someone else does, then it almost feels like you're like rejecting them. Even if you do have that group, which can be complicated in its own way, you still sometimes like there's a question that you don't want to share or you don't want to declare.
Right.
Like you want to seek information from people who are not also your best friends.
Right. And so you might seek, the momfluencer for that. Yeah, for sure.
And also we're at such a difficult place, I think, with like the wisdom of our parents' generation no longer being the wisdom of this generation.
Mhm.
So in the past, for hundreds of years, you received information, really solid information
Yeah.
from your elders.
Right. Right. But yeah, I mean, it takes 2 seconds to think of all the ways that their parenting techniques have been either vilified or, proven to be unhealthy. And
Yeah.
I mean, even just thinking about food, the way we feed our kids as compared to the way boomers did. It's just, it's huge.
Yeah. And they were just doing their best, to
Of
be clear.
course. Of course. Of course.
Today's episode is brought to you by Blueland. So right now in the Pacific Northwest, it is pollen season. It is so much. And then like if you forget to roll up your windows all the way, then it's like all over the inside. So I have been using my trusty Blueland all-purpose spray to just get all of the things that are making my life miserable, all of the allergens. Like I wake up every morning and I'm like, am I hungover? Am I sick? Like, no, it's just allergies. I love the Blueland spray because it does not make your car smell like you've drenched it in chemicals afterwards. I love that like when I run out of it, instead of having to throw away the bottle and get like a brand new bottle, that I can just go downstairs and open my cute little Blueland tin and take out the little like fizzy thing. Like it's a little round thing. It looks almost like a Noon tablet. You put it into your bottle. You're very aesthetically pleasing. I use the pink bottle for mine, and then just add some water, and then you have your cleaner that can last you for another however long it takes to get all of the pollen out of your car. It's amazing. Blueland also makes dishwasher tablets, laundry tablets, and other household cleaning products like I love the toilet cleaning ones that are all designed to reduce single-use plastic. They're independently tested to perform alongside major brands, and the formulas are made without dyes, parabens, or harsh chemicals. And like I said before, instead of repeatedly buying plastic bottles, you can just use these tablets. It's a really easy way to cut down on waste at home. Blueland is trusted in over 1 million homes, including mine. Blueland is also a certified B Corp and Leaping Bunny cruelty-free certified. Their formulas are EPA Safer Choice certified, and many products have also earned Cradle to Cradle's Gold Material Health Certificate. So make the switch today and get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/culture. That's 15% off your first order at blueland.com/culture. blueland.com/culture. Today's episode is brought to you by Tumble. Rugs are something that I feel like I never thought of as a child or even until like age 24. I didn't understand, there are rugs that like work with dogs, rugs that don't work with dogs. Like my dogs, because they like to run around in circles and catch toys and stuff. Like some rugs would get totally snagged with their claws. Like, and you're like, oh, I just spent all this money on a rug and it's not dog friendly. Why isn't there like a sign on it that says dog friendly?
And they're $1 zillion.
They are exactly.
And they come with instructions that are like, do not use the brush on your vacuum. And it's like, you have to really baby it.
Forget about that. This is why I'm so excited about my new Tumble rug. It's spill proof, it's machine washable, and it's very, very cute. Mine is called the Oliver, and it's in multi. I am so excited for it. And it also, like all of these rugs come with this mat that you put underneath that almost looks like the type of mat that you have for a children's playroom, that like it's like a puzzle piece kind of thing. And then you put the rug on top of it and you have these cute little corners. And so even though the rug itself is thin enough that you can, of course, put it into the washing machine, you have incredible amount of cushion. Like it feels really great underfoot.
I've also heard people complain about the other big brand of washable rugs that the most annoying thing is that the corners curl up and that you can never get them to go back down. But this system, because you tuck the pad into these little corner pockets, that doesn't happen.
Don't just take our word for it. Hundreds of thousands of homes have already switched to Tumble rugs, and they have over 30,000 five-star reviews. These are machine washable rugs made better. And for a limited time only, our listeners get 10% off plus free shipping at tumbleliving.com/culture. That's TUMBLE living.com/culture. After you purchase, please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Okay, we have 2 questions about the various political overtones and undertones. This first question comes from Allie.
I feel like we've gotten to a point where motherhood on a public stage always feels conservative coded. How did we get here? Are there people trying to be truly progressive momfluencers, or is performative motherhood always a bit conservative? How can the left reclaim the family and motherhood? There are so many queer people in my community redefining family and parenting in such amazing ways, but still so much of my associations with motherhood are mom talk or ballerina farm.
Oh, I love this question.
I know. Yeah, because I think the construction of motherhood in the United States has always been conservative.
Yeah.
The way we've sold and marketed and policed motherhood, it's always prioritized a white, upper class woman who doesn't work, who can completely devote herself to husband, children, and domesticity.
Yep.
So I think that's the model that so many of us have been fed for so long, that even if we see a mother who might be the most progressive mother in the world, if she's presenting as super nurturing, super soft, super feminine, super domestic, she might read as conservative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw someone complaining the other day, I think quite righteously, about how people say, we're starting a family when they have a kid.
Uh-huh.
And how, like, there's just no understanding of, like, all the different ways that you can be a family. Or that, like just having a partner can be a family, you know? Like, there's just this idea that, like, family only begins with parenthood. And explicitly,
100%.
like, biological parenthood in a lot of times. What have you thought about this?
I mean, I think that is so tied to how we communicate via imagery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you are taking
who gets to send the holiday card, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, if it's you and 2 roommates and that's your chosen family, there's so much less cultural and visual shorthand to communicate your love and devotion for each other.
Yeah.
Whereas you throw kids in, you're hugging the kid, you're kissing the kid.
Yeah.
It's just a quick, it's the way we have been taught to communicate family and devotion is through kids and nurturing of kids, even though, of course, to your point, there are a million different, shapes of family.
I was interviewing someone for my book about being an important person, like in another kid's life. She's an auntie, not related by blood, but a really important person in her best friend's kid's life.
Yep.
And this best friend recently got divorced and was like, had to figure out what to do with some of the pre-existing family photos. And the auntie was like, hey, I'm going to pay for us and our other very close friends to do portraits together outside, just like fun way that you would do, like a holiday card portraits. And she sent me some of them and they are so joyful and like, what a beautiful thing. But this is something that we never think to do apart from like, I don't know, wedding photography is like the only time that we get like formal photos with our friends.
Totally. Oh, I love that so much.
I know. And like, what a great thing to put on your wall. Like, here's this celebration, this beautiful portrait of our family as we conceive of it.
I feel like another thing I'm thinking about with this question is, I think she asked, how can the left take back, family values? I don't think those are the words, but, something to that effect. Because, for all intents and purposes, the left is on the side of family values in meaningful ways that involve legislation and social safety nets in a way that the right is diametrically opposed. But somebody told me recently, I can't remember if it was Pew, the statistic is 43% of families have a mother and a father that are on their first marriage with kids in the family, and the kids are only from that relationship. It's only 43%.
Right.
And so, to the listener's point, it's not the majority and it's not representative of most of us, but it is the dominant imagery, I think.
Yeah. And I think that still rules the discourse, even though I think I see on Instagram so many different types of families. Here are my stepkids. Here are like this is our big extended family. There are
Yep.
different ways that you can represent this,
Yeah.
but they still are not like the hegemonic understanding of what family looks like. And
Right.
I think there's some complicated stuff going on here about like how we represent ideals instead of the way that everyone, including conservatives, right? Lots and lots of conservatives live in different arrangements of family.
Yep.
But there still is this idea that like family is what matters and family looks like this.
Right. Or it's not worth being visually proud of or visually communicating.
Right. And I think there's also this idealized like family is, mom taking care of all of the stuff at home.
Yep.
And this gets to the really complicated tension of like all of these momfluencers who are spending a lot of time doing jobs, aka
Right.
producing content for the internet.
Right.
But we have to swallow that tension in order to believe the fantasy.
Right. And I mean, I don't even think most people do whole cloth believe the fantasy anymore.
Right.
Like I think media literacy has really come a long way in terms of performance on Instagram.
Right.
But again, I really think there's something neurological going where we've just been so culturally conditioned to see something and make meaning from it that even if we intellectually know, like, this is a tiny little snippet from this person's actual life, it just gets into your consciousness as truth. And again, I think that's because of the visuals.
Yeah. And I do think, sometimes people are like, oh, well, like, in the 1950s, everyone was like, Leave It to Beaver. And like something like Leave It to Beaver also existed as this aspirational space.
Right.
During that time. Like Donna Reed was like the momfluencer of that time.
Right.
But lots and lots of people were like, this is not my reality. This can't be our reality. This isn't like, in fact, most of the moms that I know who are in this position are maybe like taking some low dose like opiates and passing out on the couch, right? Like, or have a serious drinking problem and hate their lives. Like,
right.
All the feminine mystique, all of this is happening. But if someone were to look back on this period in time, they would look at a text like Ballerina Farm and think like that was what people were going for when it's not the case.
Right. Not remotely.
Like the fact that you could have watched Leave It to Beaver and been like, this is bullshit, the same way that I follow Ballerina Farm and I'm like, this is bullshit.
Totally.
Okay, progressive momfluencers. This question comes from Lizzie.
I've been thinking about more left-leaning feminist or pseudo-feminist mom influencers, many of whom focus on things like the lack of paid leave and childcare available to families, and division of domestic responsibility between men and women. While I generally agree with much of their content, I have found that it can slide into the grievance politics that we see across the political spectrum. For example, I'm thinking of a video from Paige Connell at She Is a Page Turner, where she defends taking her Christmas decorations down on December 26th because by the end of the holidays, moms are, quote, burnt out. First of all, I don't think you need to defend when you take your Christmas decorations down, but I think she just has to produce content all the time. And secondly, every decision doesn't have to be about making a feminist statement. As a mom of young kids myself, I find the holidays stressful, but I don't feel burnt out at the end. Is this engagement bait? Or is she really trying to contribute to the conversation with this? This is just one example, but what do you think this kind of short-form, daily content from moms of young children means for feminist praxis in 2026?
Incredible culture study question. I love it.
So good.
Just the sentence, what do you think this sort of short-form daily content from moms of young children means for feminist praxis in 2026? Like, you are interrogating that question in your work all the time. Like you are trying to get to the heart of this. Like when we are making this content about daily lives or when people are making this content about daily lives, like how does this contribute to our understanding of like feminist liberation? So
right.
Where do you go with this question?
Oh, so many places. I think the progressivism piece is really interesting here. I was talking to someone recently about they were noticing this sort of rise of progressive momfluencers that it's all about their politics, and it's all about like how many No Kings protests can we get our kids to?
Yeah.
How many hours of volunteer work can we get our kids to, to want to do? And all of these things are good and valuable, but I also think being politically engaged doesn't look the same for everyone.
Yeah.
And I do think that progressives, just like conservatives, can go too hard on this is the right way to do things.
Yeah.
And you're either excelling or you're failing, and there's no middle ground. Because I certainly feel guilt from time to time about like, I'm not doing enough in X, Y, and Z parenting space to foster, fill in the blank within my kids. So I think just any time a momfluencer of any political persuasion is selling all or nothing, it's going to be alienating,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then this question about labor, essentially. I'm seeing this a lot more too, about like moms do too much labor. Let's like unpack some of what we have internalized we should be doing all of the time, which I think is generally a good thing, like pointing at something and being like, you don't have to do this.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
But the thing about the Christmas tree, like, is she just doing that for content? And it's
Right.
like, probably partially, yeah, because that is her brand. So I'm sure she's looking at every aspect of her daily life and saying like, how can this fit the narrative I am selling? And I don't think that's necessarily like an insidious thing, but I think if you make, all of your income from branding yourself as a certain kind of parent, that just becomes part of what you do, I think, right?
Also, okay, could I just point out that taking your decorations down on the 26th,
I know.
That's actually way more work. I let them sit around until
100%.
like the 5th, the 6th.
Until the tree is like disintegrating in front of me.
A total fire hazard. Get it out.
Yes. Yep. For sure.
Yeah. Like it is, the 26th is like very.
It's aggressive.
That's aggressive. But I think right that like you can't have a video that's just like, I took my Christmas decorations down on the 26th because I didn't have anything else to do and I can't stay still.
Right. Oh my God. I brought up Brooke Raybould at the beginning of this because she's just really on my mind lately. But if you want to analyze daily content, check her out because she will make content out of anything. She today had her kid, I guess, made breakfast. So there's like story after story of he made his own breakfast. He made breakfast for everyone. This is what he made. Let me talk to him about how he made it. This is why I'm proud of him. Like, it's a tiny little snippet of the day that you have to make meaning of it,
Yeah. Yeah. You have to and that is exhausting, right? It's like,
oh my God. Yeah.
The quotidian activities of the day, trying to connect them to this larger thesis of your account, right?
Yes.
Have you tried doing this ever?
Oh my God. I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, way back in the day, like forever ago, when I was just like saying to myself, can I do something with writing that is work related? It was like heyday of mommy bloggers. And my sister was like, you got to start a blog. And so like she took some artsy photos of me. And I did go through a phase of like Instagram lensing my life where I'd be going throughout the day and be like, does that tray of shoes look vaguely artsy? Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like I had a very specific visual lens for it, but I don't think I have never fancied myself a parenting expert. So I've never even remotely thought of, parenting stuff like that.
How much of this is like very millennial?
Oh, like all of this, everything we're talking about?
Yeah. I think of this particular, the urge to narrativize.
Yes.
The urge to document everything.
Yep.
Instead of doing like the cool kid monthly photo dump, which is much more like a momfluencer like Rudy Jude, who is like can't be bothered, right? Or like how Alison Roman does it. Like
Yep.
that is a very different style of like narrativizing your parenting. It's still narrativizing, to be very clear, but it's like
Yes.
the quarterly magazine version instead of the like kind of trashy like
At the grocery store checkout.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's also I think connected to this, we're generalizing here, but this like very millennial ethos of like doing everything all the time.
Yes. And like, I think because so many of us were raised with the follow your dreams mentality, that like there's this inner engine within us that is like constantly like telling us like make meaning. Like, is this a passion? Is this a passion? Are you passionate? Are you passionate?
Yes.
And so I feel like that's just in the background of all of our little,
Yeah.
But yes,
well, and
but
it also
some things don't need to mean anything. Like,
that shoe rack doesn't mean anything, Sarah. Going back to the previous question about MLMs, I always think about like the way that MLMs thrive is within communities where it's very difficult to get any sort of actual part-time work.
Yep.
So getting that extra money is
Yep.
very difficult. Or like doing something that makes you feel like you're producing something, right? Like a
Yeah.
creative
Yep.
outlet. And
Yep.
because we have told moms that if you're doing something that's not related to parenting, then it's actually not good, right?
Right.
Like if you're doing a hobby that has nothing to do with parenting, that is not good parenting. So
Yep.
you can't put your creative energy into, let's say, painting or going outside of the home in any way. You are tethered to the domestic sphere, and you need to make something that also makes money. Like that is how people get caught into this trap. It is the way to make some sort of money,
Right.
within the ideological and practical confines that you are allowed.
Right. Well, and it's also really similar to MLMs in that there's really only a small percentage of momfluencers at the very, very top that are making like wild money. And I think it is presented as this, any mom with a camera can do it and be successful.
Yeah.
And that's 100% not the case.
And the recruitment is not as explicit.
No. But there is recruitment, but it's, you're right.
Mom talk. Okay.
Oh God.
The second half of the episode is about some specific trends people are noticing. This question comes from Christine.
I had my first baby in 2020, which I generally don't recommend, but I loved the online community. I had my second baby in 2024, and I was amazed at how toxic the online communities have since become with the rise of TikTok momfluencers. I specifically remember in the months leading up to giving birth, the moms in my due date group were all creating Canvas-style lists of demands for people visiting their babies. I understand having boundaries, but some of the demands were insane. Why do momfluencers normalize this? It really keeps from creating a village.
Okay, so Melody linked me to all of these Etsy templates.
Good. Okay.
Have you seen them?
No.
It's like...
Let me put this in the chat.
Okay.
Because I have never seen anything like this.
But at the same time, it makes total sense to me. I think we are actually like, this is something that is coming from the larger world of like boundaries and relationship speak that's filtering into the momfluencer world.
Yep.
And it reminds me of the episode that we did last year about therapy speak and how different types of language are actually being used as a sort of like cudgel to separate us from one another and to not do the work of being in community with one another. But so, okay, you see these.
Yes.
They, basically, they're in cutesy Canva font, which is like the new live, laugh, love font is like stuff that's like very aesthetically pleasing in this way. There's a little bit of live, laugh, love font going on, but but it's like, thank you for being part of our village. Like a gentle postpartum boundaries for friends and family about like Please text before stopping by so we can
Yep.
make sure it's a good time. Short visits are appreciated while we adjust to life with a newborn. If you have been sick or around people who have been sick, we ask that you visit another time. We may need to reschedule. Please wash or sanitize your hands. Like,
Wow, this is so fascinating. I have so many thoughts. So one thing that it's preventing is having IRL like communication with your loved ones.
yeah.
Like this feels so cold to just like I'm just gonna email my mother-in-law this like. So that's the one thing. But the other thing I see is that new moms are really overwhelmed and fried, in the postpartum period. And I think there is value in thinking about this stuff before you have your baby.
Yeah.
Like for sure. So like on the one hand, I like that these things are being considered in a mainstream way. But
just talk to someone about it.
Right. It doesn't need to be branded. Like
no, and I think like you bring up the mother-in-law, and I think oftentimes this is something that I've seen moms really struggle with mother-in-laws in particular, because you don't have the same relationship as with your own parents, let's say. But what is the unspoken text here is that your male partner is not communicating with his parents and is not doing the work. So here is how you, as a mom, take on more of the work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like whereas I think having like going over this little bullet point with your partner prior to the baby arriving would be like a really useful exercise.
Right. And then your partner having clear conversations with his parents.
Yes, for sure.
And like being kind of your bouncer.
Yes, exactly.
Which is not, I think sometimes like, because it can be hard to be like, no, mom, it's not a good time to visit right now or whatever.
God,
right?
yeah. Yep.
But then with friends too, like most of the friends that I know like are very much like, yeah, tell us when to come over. Like, let's figure it out together.
Totally.
You don't need to send them a card. Like, it's like a calling card.
Right.
You just slip it under the door when someone tries to like drop off a casserole.
Oh my God.
But it does also, I think, speak to this idea that you somehow need to like optimize
everything
your first 3 months. Like if the baby gets waken up from a nap, the day is fucked. And like you're never going to get that day back again. And I know what happens when you break, like you've worked so hard to get the baby to sleep and then it gets woken up again. But also then maybe someone's coming to visit who's going to like do all your freaking dishes for you.
Right. Totally. Or like talk to you about life outside of your baby cocoon.
Yeah. And that the incredible all focus, like just everything. And I think this is especially true of people with having their first kid. Everything goes inward.
Yes.
It's only about like baby, like with blinkers on. This is a response to or a way to facilitate that even further.
Yeah, I am. My mind is sort of blown right now. I don't think I've really thought about the fact that it is the blinkers, baby, that I truly think triggers so many women's postpartum, whatever it is, because that is what makes you feel unrecognizable to yourself. Like, these are my only interests. This is my every waking moment now. Like, I really think that's a huge part of the problem.
And if something goes wrong with baby, then everything is wrong.
Yes. The pressure. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Just intensifies the pressure. And like, to be clear, neither one of us are trying to discount how incredibly intense that period is. But when you like really separate yourself from the world by using this sort of thing. And like, if I got a card like that, that wouldn't make me want to go visit someone. That would make me think that I'm going to somehow break a boundary that I didn't even know existed.
Exactly.
And so you're pushing people away instead of actually inviting them in with these boundaries.
Yep.
Okay. Do you think that it's gotten more intense in the last 4 years?
So I think her timeline is so interesting because she said she had her first kid in 2020, which was, of course, the height of COVID.
Yeah.
And I think motherhood online was in many ways much gentler and much more accepting of nuance then, because there was this unspoken understanding that we're all going through something that's really, really, really challenging. And some of us are suffering more than others, but we're all struggling.
Yeah.
And so I think there was a way less of an appetite for the super, super optimized version of motherhood, and way more acceptance of we're all just doing the best we can.
Yeah.
And we were having so many, in many ways, new conversations about all of the ways that capitalism relies on mothers' unpaid labor to keep going. So I think it was just a very different time.
Yeah, I think so. And I think like everything is so intense right now.
Yeah.
With everything in the world and how everyone feels like just this humming background noise of catastrophe.
Yeah.
That of course it would also filter into the way that people are behaving in mom groups online. So
right. And I think it would also prompt people to go inward and, you know, believe in the illusion that if I can just control what I can control, everything outside of me will melt away and everything will be fine.
Today's episode is brought to you by Blissy. So if you wake up in the morning and your hair just is like unaccountably frizzy, if you just have sleep creases all over your face that looks like you just took like, I call these like toddler naps where like sometimes you pass out and then you wake up, like you sleep so hard that you're like, oh my gosh. If you have those sorts of sleep creases on like a regular basis, you should think about Blissy. Blissy is a beautiful silk pillowcase, so much better than satin. It's cooling, it's gentler on your skin and hair, it's dermatologist recommended, it reduces frizz, breakage, and preserves your style and color. This is especially useful for me because like my hair painting only lasts for like, I don't know, I spend like usually 3 months between, but like around now I'm like, I need something that's going to help me. Anything that helps me, including a silk pillowcase like Blissy. And it comes in over 100 colors. So whatever your bedding setup is, you can find a color to match it. Plus, it's fully machine washable. Because you're a listener, Blissy is offering 60 nights risk-free plus an additional 30% off when you shop at blissy.com/culturepod. That's BLISSY.com/culturepod and use code culturepod to get an additional 30% off. Your skin and hair will thank you. Today's episode is brought to you by Ollie. So, Melody, right before we were taping these ads, you were like, oh, well, look at Polly. She's eaten her breakfast.
Yeah, it's 2:00 in the afternoon, and she finally decided it was worth her time.
What did you do to make it worth her time?
I will give you one guess.
You put just like a little bit of Ollie on top?
I sure did. And then it was like, oh,
so spoiled.
This is a meal I've never seen before, which is not true. But it was like, she outlasted me. She outsmarted me. She's like, if I wait long enough, I'll get some Ollie on top.
I know. Well, this is the thing. We love our dogs so much. We want to make them happy. And using Ollie is a wonderful way of convincing stubborn dogs that they actually like the food in front of them. Ollie's fresh recipes are developed by real chefs and backed by vet nutritionists. They are obsessed with making the best meals with the highest quality ingredients. From the moment you start your subscription, everything is tailored to your pup. The meals are perfectly portioned, and you get this very cute and useful pup tater, which is like a heavy-duty Tupperware and then also has a scoop. So if you only use like a portion of your Ollie package, which is what I usually do, you can put all the rest into your fridge and you don't have a gross tin can that's just like hanging out in there. Afterwards, you can rinse it out and put it in the dishwasher just like normal. And with Ollie, you don't just get food. Through their app, you can actually check in on your dog's health with real vets. You just upload a picture and their team can check in on your dog's weight, digestion, teeth, and coat because they are obsessed with making sure your pup is as healthy as can be. Get ready for both you and your dog to be obsessed. Head to ollie.com/culture, tell them all about your dog, and use code CULTURE to get 70% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer an obsession guarantee. If you're not completely obsessed, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/culture and enter code CULTURE to get 70% off your first box. Ollie, feed the obsession. This next trend comes in a question from Amy.
I get served a lot of Instagram content suggesting physical or occupational therapies or exercises you should be doing with your kids, especially babies. This also includes suggested products that are more or less bad for your kids. There is also a large segment of this type of content around the alleged dangers of mouth breathing and the need for early intervention. A lot of this is presented as, quote, hidden, quote, problems that you should be looking out for or anticipating as a parent. Some, emphasis on some, seems helpful, especially as medical and therapeutic access is harder and harder to achieve, but a lot of it feels like hypochondria and mom shaming. I think this must have come out of the pandemic, but as a new mom, it is crazy making. Any more lucid thoughts on the origin of this?
So do you know what she's talking about here?
Yeah, I just pulled somebody up. She went briefly viral. God, at least 5 years ago, she put out this like granola-y cookbook, and apparently there were toxic foraged mushrooms in the cookbook. So her name is Jonna, I guess. It's Johnnna, but she's on Instagram, Fox Meets Bear. I love how I don't even think that any of the words coming out of my mouth are ludicrous.
Okay, go ahead.
So she's Rudy Jude-esque in terms of like her aesthetic.
We should say Rudy Jude is like, in my mind, she's like Maha coded, very cool girl. Like we live in like a very rudimentary cabin and like sew our own clothes, but I'm also beautiful.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't remember what this product was. Very recently, she affiliate linked to a product for kids. It was some sort of cleanse drops, or like she was referring to it as spring cleaning your kids.
No.
So I don't know if it was like microbiome stuff or like gut health stuff, but it was like, I don't know, like $36 for these little droppers of I don't know what. So I think this fits in that category.
And this is all part of this larger Maha galaxy of you don't know what is actually in your vaccines.
Right.
Red dye is everywhere. You are like dooming your kids to this lifetime of like whatever by these choices that you are making right now.
Right.
And appealing, as you said earlier, to moms who are feeling very out of control, to a tremendous amount of distrust in public health. Like, that is the target, and that is who they are hitting.
Yep, for sure. It's this promise that you can avoid mainstream medicine, if your kids are eating the right thing, if they're barefoot outside.
Yeah.
Like all of the things. It's this like idealization of low intervention almost. There's this like real romanticizing of if you just live correctly, you won't need all the nasty, scare quotes, things coming in.
Yeah. And I think like all of this stuff, there's a spectrum, right? So like on one end is like let your kids run naked outside and like naturally potty train and everything's going to be great without any understanding of like who has access to those sorts of spaces.
Right.
And what like who is allowed to let their kids run wild and not be reported to CPS.
100%.
And then on the other end is I think the ones that are appealing to a much more like mainstream sort of mom that's like, you didn't know about mouth breathing? Right? Like these are people who still go to pediatricians,
Yes.
But are trying to say like, can you believe, like, here is something that you didn't know about that you should absolutely stop right now.
Right.
And that, I think, that's what Amy, I think, is pointing to a little bit more is stuff that doesn't like code immediately as Maha.
Right.
But is still like concern trolling almost.
Yeah. And I think that might almost be more insidious in a way to more people.
Yeah.
Because there's this idea that there's a bottomless well of parenting knowledge.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
You never hit the bottom.
right. And it's like, oh, cool. This thing is also bad for us that I've been doing my entire life. It's every other day. There's something that you've been doing that has been proven to be bad for you. And so I just think that type of thing for moms in particular can be so dangerous and icky and set up to fail.
And all of it seems to really just be undercutting any sense of intuition, right? Like there is no, even though a lot of Maha stuff is like, trust your gut.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but it actually is saying, don't trust your gut. Because
trust my gut.
Because there's things that we have internalized, like going to the doctor is good, vaccines help keep everyone safe, that, or even just like, I grew up with this and I turned out okay.
Right.
I watched television.
Right.
I mouth breathed. Like, I am such a mouth breather. Like I can't. Don't even get me started. And I turned out okay. But we're taught to not think about those things and to distrust that feeling and that knowledge and the wisdom. Really.
Right. Yeah. It's like, yeah, we've eaten Oreos and we live to die another day. Like, but like, I'm sure there's a momfluencer out there talking about why Oreos are going to kill your kids.
Yeah, Lord, can you believe it?
Right. Right.
Okay, last question comes from Madeline, who wants help decoding a certain influencer.
Recently, Eve O. Schaub has been showing up on my Facebook reels with her I'm Growing a Dress series. She's growing, harvesting, spinning, weaving, and sewing flax into linen for a dress. I cannot culturally pinpoint her at all. She only wears handmade dresses, although recently I've seen her in jeans like once or twice, and does old-fashioned home things, tradwife flag, but she's super quirky and not beige at all. Is she the manic pixie dream girl of tradwife-esque content creators? I checked her bio and saw she's the author of A Year with No series. No sugar, no garbage, no clutter. What's her deal? Have I finally been caught in the tradwife web by the manic pixie dream girl of them all?
This question made me laugh so hard. It's so good.
So Eve Ogden Schwab.
Yep, I'm looking at her.
She has red unruly hair.
It's giving Miss Frizzle.
Yeah, it's giving a little Miss Frizzle. She just looks like a librarian down the street.
That would be jolly, very jolly.
Yes, like a little bit of Miss Frizzle there. Yeah, very jolly, like doesn't seem to be
precious or anything.
Precious about anything. And I've seen all these growing a dress things. What is your feeling here?
I mean, I spent some time on this account looking. I love the term tradwife flag. But I feel I'm not getting tradwife. I'm getting like really intense crafter, like has a big Ravelry presence. You know what I mean?
I'm getting like dirty hippie from Eugene, Oregon, who now is on Instagram. And that's the thing about all of these dirty hippies that, and I say this like so affectionately when I say the term dirty hippie.
Totally.
Right? We're talking about people who would come to the Saturday market and like sell you kind of weird crafts, right? And like they made enough to get by on that, plus like maybe working at like the local health food store for a couple of shifts a week.
Yeah.
So like that source of income is no longer sustainable. They have to be online. And the way to succeed online is to pick up the same tactics that everyone else is using.
Yep. Yeah. I would be remiss if I didn't point out that Rudy Jude also grew her own flax a year or two ago. I don't know what became of that particular flax, but it did happen.
Doesn't Rudy Jude, she has like the very stiff jeans.
Yes. They're
selvage, like very popular with a certain set of like
they're
Brooklyn
like part
hipsters.
Yes. It's like part of the uniform.
Yeah. And that is not the uniform of this lady.
No,
this
not
lady's
remotely.
wearing like witchy skirts.
For sure.
But you take the same sort of dynamics And a lot of this is just like savvy marketing. Like,
Yeah.
doing week 34, like, and turning this into a project that is updated every week. Like,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Or
Yep.
like even the gimmick of like year of no sugar, year of no clutter. Like, those are ways to
Yep.
grow your followership. And
Right.
so, and also things that Instagram, and we talk about this, you and I, and other newsletter creators, like how Instagram keeps changing their algorithms to preference different things and trying to get you to use their different features, and like everyone is
Right.
being pressured to create within the same mode.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you get some of that slippage of this seems trad coded to me because
Yeah.
the aesthetics are similar in some
Right.
overarching ways, right?
Right. Yeah, there's the spinning wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I always think of Sleeping Beauty, of course.
Melody, what do you get from this lady?
Well, I saw she's from Vermont, which
That checks out.
I don't know. I don't know really anything about Vermont other than the only people I know from there like are pretty liberal. So I also got the kind of hippie vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I used to live in Vermont for a short while, and like this is a Vermont lady for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So okay, we answered all these questions. Is there anything else that you like, any other accounts that you think people should be watching if they want to like keep thinking about these ideas that are percolating in the larger momosphere? So I'm following Brooke Raybould now.
Okay.
Who else?
So I was gonna mention this earlier. I forget what the question was, but Lee Tillman, do you remember this whole controversy? She was Lee from America. She was like, she made smoothie bowls in the early 2010s. She was profiled by a bunch of places. And then she was quote unquote canceled for selling really overpriced like health and wellness retreats or something. But she came out with a memoir, what was it called? Basically, it was like an insider tale of my life as an influencer.
Yeah.
And then she became an influencer. And now she is recording her like conception journey, and she's branding herself as a motherhood and pregnancy expert without being pregnant or having kids, which I find fascinating.
What?
I mean, she's just having all these experts on to talk about things. She's talking about her like what I eat, preparing for baby. Again, she's not pregnant yet, but preparing her body to get pregnant.
Oh my gosh. There are so many people that I know who follow this lady. I'm looking on Instagram right now.
Yeah.
And some of them are the people that you would expect, like who are clearly following out of like analysis. And some of them are like normies. Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating. Okay. All right. I'm following now.
Cool. So she comes to mind.
You always tell me to follow Ballerina Farm's sister. Because it's such a contrast. It gives more clarity into like how Ballerina Farm erases the seams as they were of the construction. What's her name again?
Micka Perry, I think. Micka Perry. I'm also keeping an eye on Micka's daughter, the one that had her first baby when Micka had her 11th baby. Because she fascinatingly is a family and wellness counselor. No, family and couples counselor, I think. So that's just really interesting. So I'm keeping an eye on her as well. I think her name is Annika Austin.
Okay. All right. Those are some great momfluencers. And we'll put links to all of these in the show notes. So, Sarah, can you stick around for the Ask Ann Anything part of the show?
Yeah, I'd love to.
So this isn't really a momfluencer question, but it's a larger mom question involving midlife crises. But as always, this is the part of the show that is just for paid subscribers. So if you want it, sign up at patreon.com/culturestudy and get instant access to it. All right, Sarah.
Yes.
Where can people find you if they want to hear more from you? We had you specifically on because you have a new podcast.
Oh, right. I keep forgetting about the podcast. Okay, so I write about Ballerina Farm et al. On my newsletter In Pursuit of Clean Countertops, which is on Patreon. And yeah, my dear friend Emily J. Smith, who is a novelist and a writer, she and I started a podcast called Clean Countertops, and we look at ideals of womanhood and explore the many ways that those ideals are bad. And it's really fun. It's very loose. It's, an excuse for us to talk every week as much as anything else. So it's really fun. And yeah.
And if people like this conversation, they're going to love the pod. So
yes,
really recommend.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining me. This was really the highlight of my week.
Oh, it was so fun.
Thanks for listening to the Culture Study Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts because we have so many great episodes in the works, and I promise you don't want to miss any of them. If you want to suggest a topic, ask a question about the culture that surrounds you, or submit a question for our subscriber-only Advice Time segment, go to our Google form at tinyurl.com/culturestudypod or check the show notes for a link. And if you want to support the show and get bonus content, head to patreon.com/culturestudy. It's $5 a month or $50 a year, and you'll get ad-free episodes, an exclusive Advice Time segment, and weekly discussion threads for each episode. The Culture Study Podcast is produced by me, Anne Helen Peterson, and Melody Rowell. Our music is by Poddington Bear. You can find me on Instagram at Anne Helen Peterson, Melody at Melodious47, and the show at Culture Study Pod.